Good afternoon, everyone. This is Somil Mehta this side, and really pleasure hosting this panel discussion with Mr. Saikat Sarkar, who's the CEO for SR Retail, Mr. Sumit Singh, Head Consumer Experience for Havels, and Mr. Syed Hussain Imam, Head Brand and Experience for Capgemini Invent. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and thank you for your time for this particular panel discussion. Which the point and the time is critical in terms of the COVID times, and there cannot be more better time to sort of discuss overall changeovers that we are seeing on customer experience. So, friends, customer experience has various facets, various touch points. Digital has enabled some quick reach to the most targeted consumer at the most opportune moment of creating that vital experience as well. Each facet or touch point offers the organization an opportunity to pick and choose their vantage points for creating a memorable impact, which transitions to strengthening their brand equity, top line, bottom line, everything. In your individual experiences and pertaining to the sector in which you are operating currently or you would have operated in the past, which are or which will be the most challenging aspects of creating such meaningful customer experiences, and how do you plan to navigate these challenges? I would request Saikat Sarkar to shed light on this particular point from the point of view of retail service as well as food and beverage industry uh, for us.
Sure, sure. Thanks for your question, Samil. I think we are at a very, what Vikas earlier was terming as disruptive, uh, we are in a disruptive space. At the same time, we are a very, very, very exciting space actually, because a lot of innovation is happening. Like the way we have now gathered and we are trying to discuss and trying to figure out that what should be our right way of looking at CX, looking at all the customer experiences, looking at everything which connects us in terms of product, supply chain, then finally reaching to the customer. This all this piece binding together. I think in this exciting time, what we have seen and what we are going to see is these two things. I just want to kind of mention what we have seen all this time, that the customers have become hugely omnichannel. I mean, even pre-COVID, also if we kind of notice, both online and offline has kind of merged in terms of shopping behavior, purchasing behavior, or browsing behavior. You pick up any of those points. Now, having said that, the integration what was happening for online and offline channels for our kind of industry, I'm talking about grocery retail, just now what you mentioned as food and beverage retail. For all these things, I think it has never been so converged the way the entire organization is now looking forward to the things. As for example, earlier, the kind of touch points from where the data used to get collected were minimal, right? So now, what is happening in the entire retail industry or even food and beverage retail industry? What is happening? The touch points are now increasing. So, firstly, your collection of data has increased. It's much more than it has been before. And the second thing is that what Vikas was also mentioning, that we already were sitting on a lot of data. I'm not talking particularly about retail industry, but for all other industries. We were having a lot of data, but are we properly utilizing the data, analyzing it, and finally taking the action? The percentage wise, it's probably much, much below than the overall data universe what we have. And the retail industry and F&B retail industry is particularly lower, scoring lower as far as the benchmark is concerned. But I think that has suddenly shot up post-COVID scenario. I think people are understanding that the overall opportunity creation, it can be much more when you are there in multi-channel. You converge it in the similar way, analyze your data properly, use AI in such a way that your feedback mechanism it's spot on, and actually in a continuous conversation mode with your customer. It's a very, very real time one. Earlier that never used to be the case. The typical the CX, the way it used to happen for F&B industry or for retail industry was, say post shopping, you gather experiences, you have a note of it, analyze that, take some action. Now that has become much more real time and you have the technology available for that. So one is that I think the emotional connect, keeping that same as it used to be as before. I think with these data analytics, now you get to reach in a much more real-time manner. And I think instant gratification is something which was not there. I think that has coming. People are not ready to wait for, say 2 months, 3 months, few weeks to,
Yeah.
get something back. So that instant gratification is very important, which our industry have kind of brought in. And then this rise of omni-channel, kind of behavior of the shopper, it is putting a lot of stress on the pricing part, which once again it's a function of whatever data you collect, whatever feedback you collect, and make amends accordingly. Keep connections, keep that connect, keep on conversing with your customers on a regular basis, and make everything deployed on the shop floor or on your back end. So both these things, I think there has been a huge change. It's a big jump. Probably it would have taken another 1.5 years. I think that has suddenly has given a kickstart, and just about in the span of 3 months' time, we are seeing those changes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, huge amount of data available, huge amount of actionable points also available. Real time means the time to act is getting, lesser and lesser, is shrinking. I would like to go to
Yes.
Sumit with these thoughts and request him to tell us, in his perspective, in his experience from a consumer electrical appliances and durable industry point of view, where product spec, feature and design upgrade are also shrinking, with the passage of time. How do you manage with these added complexity and challenges? What are your thoughts on that, Sumit?
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Samuel, and thank you for this enriching, insightful conversation that we're going to have. I look forward to that. Let me start with that we're in this situation, right? And without oversimplifying it, we are all struck by this. We made plans. We know we'll do this in 2020. We'll do this in 2021. Those things were all, to so to speak, all gutted, and we were all shocked in this situation, right? We kind of brought back our senses as a company, as professionals, as people at home, while we were trying to straddle with things that were household. We were also trying to try and get some sense as to what needs to be done. So pragmatically speaking, this is all part of an individual experience, and it's an experience that everybody faced. And we cannot single out each one of us who's kind of got through this zone, and now we are here where we're trying to judge the things and trying to say, okay, this is what we did, and whatever it is, we're probably on the right track. But things will transform. Many I remember a joke that was floating around on WhatsApp. Who did the digital transformation of your company? Is it the CEO or the CTO? Right? We all know who's done it, and we've kind of really rolled into this. Everybody worked their uh, you know work themselves really hard to get digitized, and all companies did in whatever capacity that was possible. Having said that, various platforms are there. From a customer experience standpoint, this is extraordinary, right? People are not going out. We're getting all our information mostly on mobiles, right? There are online sites, there are applications. Both have to be merged, right? There has to be seamless experience without confusing people. All the more people don't have time, right? Like, if you look at my wife or myself with two kids and everybody, we're working, we're doing house job, we're doing homework at times, and we're also managing the house. And I say this for everybody, right? We have less time, and we have to have empathy for everyone, empathy for everybody who's on the street, everybody for who's who's trying to make their ends meet, and so our work is immense, right? We have to get the right insights, we have to get the right communication. It has to be fast, it has to be precise. We have to empower people, right? Empower ourselves so that we can empower our customers. For a organization like this, with safety products, with household products, with let's say grooming products, with lifestyle products. It's a large thing. Anything that you see in your house, probably a company like this makes all electrical products, right? Things in a product development, it was mentioned in the beginning, product development takes time, right? To get a new product into the system, it doesn't take less than a year or so, but everybody has to ramp up, right? A lot of dependency on China, right? Spare parts, etc. So product development is different. So one has to migrate to a more experiential zone. One has to capture the attention of the consumer. One has to have the trust of the consumer with whatever you have, right? And that's the goal, and that's eminently the goal for all of us. We're all trying to reach out. So one of the things is that for future, everybody needs, let's say, a robust product, right? It should not fail. That's the key, right? Now more and more, everything should be robust. It shouldn't have frills. I mean, those things were there, right? We used to buy products for the gimmick or the gadgety and things like that. But the foundations have to be strong now. That is one of the key trends. The second trend is that everybody is really trying to communicate with humility and genuineness. That is very important. And the third is, of course, digitization. So, so in a nutshell, that is where maybe I could contribute to your question.
Thank you, Sumit. So, in a sense, we have more data, but we have less time. We have less time for ourselves, and corporations have less time to act on that data and revamp themselves, their processes or products or offerings. It is said that probably digital is going to be doing a lot of this enablement. And on that note, on that thought, I would request Mr. Syed Hussain Imam to share his point of view of digital marketing. Will it offer the nimble-footed solution to the problems that the world faces today?
First of all, thank you very much for including me in this conversation. Let me wear my consultant hat to answer this question. More from so the way I see it, and digital for me is an enabler. It's a medium to deliver, right? And for me, what matters most, yes, the messenger is important. For me, the message also needs to be very, very important. What digital is supposed to do, what the objective of digital is more in terms of, delivering memorable experiences that delight your customer. We should be focusing on delivering ongoing focused value overall. Again, I'm encompassing both digital and your omni-channel, what Saikat said and what other speakers have said about it. Again, and one of the major point which I would like to emphasize is the personalized, convenient service. Is something, these are the three objectives in my mind that a digital should be doing. We all know that we are living in an experience economy and customer is central to everything. It's all done and dusted, accepted. What I would like to focus on, and have a conversation is more in terms of, the way I see it and in my past experience, digital has never been, as digital evolved, it has always become an incremental point to our existing model. So when I say, when you have traditional marketing and then there's a parallel thing which has come up called digital marketing. Now you have what has happened in the overall scenarios that as digital innovates with your mobile marketing, social media, and you name a thing, and there is a new innovation which is happening as we speak. Instead of rethinking about how you look at the overall solution, overall system together, what we have done in the past is that we have extended our model as an appendix to it. And what we have called, as Saikat was saying, multi-channel, omni-channel, what has happened itself now is that they have created silos within the overall organization. And these silos, if you look at it, omni-channel is a very fantastic approach theoretically it is the best approach that you can get. But if you really look at omni-channel, what has done is that you have, if you look at your omni-channel chart, it looks like your org chart. You have a mobile team, you have the social media team, you have the print team, and those have their own budget structures, office politics. The whole gamut of building the omni-channel structure was to focus on the customer. Where we have lost it, and we are more in towards the silos, and every aspect collects its own data, own information. So what I've been talking to my clients these days, and what I've been thinking about is, why can't we look at a mono channel? And digital can provide that mono channel. And when I say mono channel, the only channel is your customer. So, when I say the only channel is your customer, you define the persona of your customer. Each as Saikat or Sumit sells different products. They would have different personas, different journey map across those clients. What we have been doing so far is that, we have this ability, or there is a new technology, let's bring it out to this customer set, or bring it out on our plate. What I would suggest, what I think that digital can do and has the power of doing it, is to get that journey map in place for each persona within your customer set. Align all your channels together, all your assets together, how you provide a seamless experience to your customer. And again, if you look at it, the customer is not constant, where the organizations, as Vikas said, has to be very agile. I don't see COVID or any other disruption as a hindrance in terms of customer experience. What you need to do, if you are focused on your customer, if the situation changes, the way your customer is reacting, you will automatically adjust to yourself. So again, my point is that instead of saying that you work on social, you deploy a social media strategy for yourself. That's the big thing that is happening. Understand, get a 360 customer voice. Yes, that's all done. But I think this is the right time where we look inside out and outside in, from our overall model, when we look at marketing, customer experience, sales, commerce across. So yeah, I can go on. But again, my point is more in terms of looking at things from a more holistic perspective than, again, and the pain that I get is that digital is, yes, okay, Mr. Digital, can you do something for me? Whereas I think it has to be integrated as part of all the systems, or the the industry life cycle, or the company organization life cycle. I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Samuel. Are you facing a difficulty? Samuel, please go ahead. If I could request you to refresh the page once and reload the page once. Tandy, sorry about that inconvenience caused.
You threw him out.
Mr. Imam, if I could just request you to just continue the discussion we just had, or probably could share some more thoughts on the last point that you were discussing, while the time we get Mr. Mehta back.
Sure, I think I can go on from my omni-channel to a mono-channel conversation. So what I was thinking about is that more what we need to focus on the customer singularity point of view. That's where digital solutions will come into place.
Right.
How you collect the data around all the activities that a customer, against a unique identity that that is interacting with all your touch points.
Right.
And again, the third and the most important point what we face is that all the information has to be centrally housed. What we are facing in a multi-channel and an omni-channel setup is that each one has its own silos. And I can give you examples in terms of what we face in our daily life. Is that social media is seen as more as a complaint box or a agony aunt kind of stuff that you without taking names, if a e-commerce company delivers something, you ordered a watch, you get a packed box, and when you open it, there is no watch in it, right? So what do? You go and complain. You pick up the phone and talk to the customer care. That guy says, you got a closed box? He said, yeah, I got a closed box. When I opened it, nothing was there. Now, when you go and rant on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever social media elements that you have, what happens is that another contact happens to you. Sir, please fill this form. We'll look into it. But at the same time, what you have done is taken me aback. Like, I am off your channel in terms of the experience that I had. My problem is still not solved. And that's a typical, we have the omni-channel, I have the offline store experience, I have the customer service experience, I have the digital social media experience there. But those are all very well, but broken and siloed in each other. So now if you have a unique ID for a customer that gets seamlessly across all your channels, where your focus is on the customer, then the experience would be at a different level. And then you harness the true power of digital, in my opinion. And again, that will give you ideas in terms of how do you use your physical stores. So in my opinion, physical stores should be more used like a theater. Those should be more as a platform of event, content creation, exceptional customer services. So that's where you start harnessing digital. But right now, again, I know this is something which is, we are in transition, but I guess this is the right time where we start thinking about it and start thinking how do you integrate the overall digital in your life cycle. I know, Saika, this smiling.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
No, I think before Somil comes in, I'll take that what Saida said. I think the way
am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
Am I audible? I'm back.
Syed was helping us with some more insights while you were gone.
I was not gone for much.
No,
I was not gone for much. In fact, what Syed was speaking is what we experienced physically. We just saw the disruption that can have in our lives, and we just had the live example of disruption in this particular panel discussion itself. Thank you, Syed, for those enriching thoughts. And rightly said, digital cannot be the end result or end game. It can be a means to an execution. It cannot be the execution, or it cannot be the end game in all. And digital needs data and digital needs to integrate your overall strategy. Moving on that thought, so one of the key industry challenges is that while we will have data, we will remap consumer journey, we might work on product and feature upgrades, and we might integrate digital into it. But one of the biggest challenges the industry is facing today is how to get people out of their home and come to the retail shop floor and shop. Another challenge is how to get employees to stand at the retail shop floor and or at the cash counters. And how does retail sector address these key concerns imaginatively, innovatively, actively, and most important, compassionately? This is a very key question that is bugging almost everyone in the retail industry, and who better than Mr. Saikat Sarkar to help us understand how their organization and he in his experience and wisdom going to address these challenges in their tough times to come.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Amil. But I think before starting, I'll refer back to what Syed said. And I think Syed is expecting it. So I should not disappoint him. Right? Right. So Syed, absolutely point taken. I mean, there is hardly any difference of opinion, whatever you said. I think we said the same thing. If you note that I talked about a convergence, and you picked up a point where probably these two channels are working in silos, so it needs to get converged. So exactly that point I harped upon is that convergence is happening to some extent, and it has to happen. So I think we are talking the same thing, just we use different words. So
Sure.
I mean, moving on from there, is that it's not only post COVID. I mean, Saumil, in retail industry, I mean, talking about, once again, I spoke about the opportunity creation for the customers, but opportunity creation has to happen for the retail employees also. And retail ergonomics is something what has improved a lot. Anywhere you go in the world, any kind of established country where retail is soaring, or it is existing there for past 50-60 years. Whereas in India, we still call this as modern retail, and then we talk other stores as general trade. So the segregation is very well there. But yes, we are coming out of it. And as we speak, I think as an organization, as far my experience is concerned, there are various ways of doing it. I mean, just pick up the first touch point where in a retail store, I'm talking about a grocery retail store, where one has to, stand there for pretty long time, probably 5-6 hours. So a high stools is something what is kind of introduced in many of the stores, if you notice it today, and that has not happened in one day. I mean, it has been kind of in discussion for quite some time, and I think that is slowly coming into place. The touch screen, the POS machine, what you get these days, it's takes care of your ergonomics part. So I think it's not that things are not happening. And as far as the back end is concerned, I mean, in our organization, we encourage quite a lot of corridor gossips, coffee breaks, and in retail store, in a high throughput retail store, where you don't have all the time customers coming to the stores. You have specific timing, and then you shut out some of the POS counters for say 2-3 hours, give people a break, run with 2-3 kind of POS units, and once again during the rush hour, open all the POS counters, and then you get your entire staff brigade coming in the store, and take charge of the POS counters. I think those are few simple things what can be done. It is happening. High stool is one of the major things what has happened in many stores, and which is still happening. So I think that is one of the prime ones, and it is not only post-COVID. I think it started pre-COVID only, and a lot of work is happening on that front. I think we have lost Somil again.
Right. So I'll just harp upon. Oh, he's back. So Zaikat, my point was, I totally agree with when you say that we are talking the same thing. What I kind of, wanted to express is the mindset change that needs to happen today. That's where I wanted to bring out that I agree that the convergence is happening, because of, if I could call it, the business compulsions, or the circumstances that we are getting into. I'm not talking about the COVID part of it, but again, my whole point is more in terms of how you again, the omni-channel part and the mono-channel part that I'm talking about is more of a concept which creates that frictionless overall environment within the organization itself, where the orchestration is not that I am from a print team or a sales team or a commerce team or a customer care team, but it is more that I need to service this band of customers, and this is what my role is, and I come back and go out in my turn. So again, I think the same thing, but more.
Yeah, absolutely. Point taken. Yeah, absolutely. Great.
So the banter continues. Great points, Aikat sir. That and it is actually an enlightenment of sorts for me as well. That the overall design change at the retail shop floor has been an evolution since ages, and it is not that it is limited to the current situation and the times to come. It has been a process. It has been an active process of capturing the real-time feedback from what the employees actually face, and that's something which is really encouraging and exciting. We listen to the employees, but when we listen to the consumers in the given norm of work from home, and I'm moving now to some myths. Given the situation that we are in with work from home, we are hearing from various sources that there is a sudden demand and there's a sudden spike in demand for some of the gadgets and appliances. Either people are looking at buying something totally new, or people are upgrading because of added responsibilities at work at home. Maids probably not coming in. There is a child care to take care, and hence gadgets help people. So these such sudden evolution of needs from the consumers.
Yeah,
Sumit, are you
hi.
there?
I couldn't, gather the last part of your question.
Okay, so sure. So the point I was making is the evolution of work from home scenario is also compelling some of the evolution within the in-house setup in terms of gadgets and appliances that people have. Either people are buying some new categories, maybe say a dishwasher, or they are upgrading a smaller refrigerator to a bigger refrigerator because they are probably upstocking now these days with less frequency of purchase. So there are such various demand occasions that are getting created. Consumer needs are evolving. How is consumer durable and appliances industry addressing this evolution
So
for the consumer?
absolutely, and it's a brilliant question. Things have changed. Customers are requiring, like you said very well, that dishwashers are things that we need now. We were dependent on our house help, etc., which is not with us, and that's a great consumer behavior which has changed from a appliance perspective, because those things are done by the people in the house. So there are a plethora of those products which are gaining momentum and being sold. Um, One of the and beyond that, there are new advent of new products also that are coming in. For example, the UV a lot of sanitizing and those kind of products which everybody is more and more getting aware of. And so those are the conditions that have come up. Um, Again, people are going into having or purchasing these products, etc. But only time will tell as to how useful they were, or how long a journey they will have in our consumer acceptance. Like a lot of times we are not prepared for this, right? A lot of times we also face that, my kitchen is very small and I can't have a dishwasher, right? So there are more and more customer insights also coming in as to how a dishwasher has to be, right? Because all of these, for the lack of a better word, they were all internationally designed objects, right? Either they were European designed or American designed objects, which we adapted as our culture. So from a pure design, culture, adaptation, consumer need kind of a perspective, we need to rethink, right? We need to rethink, and we need to create our own. So being a designer myself, this is a line of thought that we really dive into, and we try and gather as much as consumer insights in our old. Now more and more we're getting territorial, right? Atmanirbhar, and we're also having pride in our country, so those are also things that are propelling the absolute need of customized creation, customized design. and people are more and more going to be in favor of that, right? That's another consumer mindset or a psyche that is changing, right? Of course, the global brands are great, right? And they're also producing here. Nobody is right, really. But we will have a lot of trend which is going to move
Right.
into how cultural oriented products and the Indian need based products will be more and more in vogue, to say. That is one. The other critical aspect for this kind of a company in these times is service, right? Like if your fan gets into a problem, you have to get someone to get it done, right? One of the things that will always now be trending is also DIY, right? So do it yourself somehow, right? So those are things that we will have to think about. Also, as we started saying, application of things, and try and see that we can try and do it remotely, right, through chat box or through AI or VR and ML kind of a thing. So those are all learning curves for the consumer as well as for the industry to try and bridge this gap as fast as possible. So these are a couple of things that I can state right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumit, for those thoughts, and it's very exciting and so humbling. I would say the way you mentioned about listening to the consumer and Indianizing some of these products, which is critical, and it only comes from the fact that you listen to the consumer. When it comes to listening to the consumer, and I'll move to Sayyid Imam again. When it comes to listening to the consumer, digital probably gives a far more quicker access. But as we discussed earlier also in our discussion, it's probably digital is not a one size fit all solution, you know. However, the industry is desperately looking at digital to be there, I would say, in the current context, vaccine to their, problem. So do you think digital can be the vaccine for the corporations, or does digital actually has also some genuine limitations where it will probably say it can't work in this age? Can you share some thoughts or some experience, some cases on this front?
Sure, I think digital can work as a vaccine, and again, we all have experiences with vaccine. It's if you get the right amount and the right size of the vaccine, it actually helps. And if, if the vaccine is a little over or less, then it doesn't perform its job, right? So if you overdose, that's in the pre-evolution era. I would call it in my age, some 30, 40 years ago, when I was getting vaccinated, we used to get fevers, and the whole thing used to get. There was the vaccination was a big process, and now with making sure that the vaccination is right, the right amount is there, the right quantity is there. What doctors and what pharma has evolved into is that you don't get even fever now. Forget about anything else. There's no painless vaccination. So bringing that same analogy here, I'll harp upon what I said in my previous conversation. There is definitely a big shift. The moment we understand and realize and internalize that there is a shift from a product-centric approach to a customer-centric approach across this thing. And there could be multiple reasons, spoiled for choices, whatever the reason is, but that's where we are gravitating towards, if we haven't gravitated in certain markets or not. But again, if I talk about from a developed market concept, yes, it is all about consumer at this point of time. So what we need to fundamentally change, in my opinion, is how we manage our CRMs again. Again, the same in terms of our traditional CRM perspective. From a digital point of view, what we have been storing there is your very demographic data, name, age, when did you buy, when was the first purchase, and so on and so forth. I think what we need to gravitate towards is we start storing the consumer focused or the CX focused identity within the CRM, in terms of the purchases of the product, the subscription, the add-ons, the promotion. So again, that gives you a 360-degree view of your customer, or your potential customer, and that would again decide whether digital is going to be the right vaccine or can be a cookie cutter approach for you or not. But again, my point is that digital cannot be seen as an isolation. It has to be fundamentally linked to the very existing of your organization. So I personally feel that we should look at from a connected marketing, connected commerce, connected sales, and connected services perspective. Then you evolve all the four pillars within an organization. That service end consumer has to be connected together, and that connection or the combination of these four will decide whether it will work as a vaccine or will you know will not work as a vaccine, I would say.
Will not work. Oh, what a wonderful analogy. So yeah, digital friends, such brilliantly put by Sayed, that it can be the vaccine if it is given like a vaccine in the right dose, at the right occasion, at the right age, probably in the evolution process of the journey, and at the right time as well, in the right dosage as well, not to be overdone. And so hence, just like most of the things in life, digital also needs to be done in a measured as well as integrated approach. But what has been a common theme across all the panelists is that they've wonderfully captured or told us is to listen to the consumer, irrespective of the format from which the feedback is coming, and do the rightful and meaningful actions on that, and not to overdo anything. Otherwise, vaccines do have their side effects as well. It's been one of the most engaging panel discussions I have had also. So thank you, my panelists, for being so candid and so engaging in their conversations. Thank you for managing disruption from my side with an amazing banter between Saikat and Syed. And thank you for the audience for being such a wonderful listeners. We are open for question and answers now, Kristen.
Thank you, Samuel. Attendees, we've got a question. The question is to Syed. Hi, Syed. How do we maintain a brand experience at a top level satisfaction from an e-commerce perspective with different vendors across continents having different processes, silos, and data privacy and selling models in place?
I don't think so. That's a good question to start with, and I don't think so. There's a simple answer to what he has asked. Again, to be honest, that's where I'm working on, and that's what I mentioned about the mono-channel approach. And when you talk about, so when we say a distributed delivery model within an e-commerce across geographies, that's where you need to come up with your customer personas. How are you going to work on within your national limit versus overseas or international stuff? So that, in my opinion, that mono-channel approach has to be developed more. How you work on that approach in a more comprehensive manner. And again, the last point which I mentioned about that, it has to be ingrained in the very in the DNA of your organization when you're talking about digital or customer experience, not as an add-on, because that's where you break the overall this thing. So I think in a short, mono-channel, in my opinion, is the best way to get to solve a lot of problems here, where you have a unique identity for your customers. You store all the interactions, and analyze all the interactions that you have with your unique ID across your channels, and also store it in a central repository which gives you a complete picture and helps you manage it in this. And again, when you're talking about a GDD model or across time zones, again, with my experience working across different geographies, timely communication is the most important thing. Whether you are able to deliver, not deliver, if you have a good news or a bad news, people are very open and receptive about it. But again, the communication should be well connected, and the right communication should happen. You're on mute, Justin.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for that answer, Syed.
I think Saikat has a point to add, I guess.
So our
No,
questioner is
I
thanking
don't
you,
have
Sayed,
anything to add.
for your wonderful insight. We can have more questions as well, yeah, in case they are coming.
Great.
Justin, are you joining us as well otherwise?
Yep. So I don't see any questions coming through, and with that, we're actually coming to the end of the agenda. So attendees, if you have any questions, please share your questions in the chat panel. Also,
I guess we don't have any further questions, panelists. My sincere gratitude to Saikat, Sumit, and Sayed for your time on this panel discussion, which has been really an humbling effect for me personally, and I hope it would be the same for all the attendees on the program as well today. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your insights, and look forward to staying in touch with all of you and keep on interacting and learning
Absolutely.
from you.
It was
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
thank you so much, the panelist members. With that, we're coming to the close of the event. Please do reach out to us in case you have any questions post-event, or if you'd like to connect to any of our partners. Be advised that the meeting tables and the networking tables are still available and open in the launch area. So please feel free to connect with our partners on the launch area. So once again, on behalf of the entire CXM team, our partners, SAP, Blueprint Technologies, and Cape Germany, I would like to thank you all for joining today's session. It was a pleasure connecting with you all. And I would like to thank all our speakers, panelist members, keynote delivery speakers for their lovely insights. Well, we all wish you a very pleasant day ahead and look forward to having you on board in the upcoming CXM events. Thank you and stay well. And please make use of the networking tables we have in the lounge area. Thank you. Bye for now.